Welcome to Unit 1.3. In this unit, you're going to learn fixed referencing in formulas. Now, if we look at this example up here, what we learned in previous lessons was what relative copy means. So in other words, when we sum this column, it's summing A9 to A11, B9 to B11, C9, D9, etc. And over here, it's adding row 9, row 10, row 11, row 12. So it moves relative to the column or the row. As you know, this is not always the case. For example, over here I've got spend by department. So HR spent 12,800, sales spent 9. Let's just total that up there. The total spend for all the areas being 66,300. Now in C1, I want to show this as a percentage. In other words, what percentage did HR make up of the total spend? So the math side of that would be equals your HR divided by your total. And enter. And to convert that to a percentage, click on the percent sign. The thing is, when I copy down now, you will notice that it all goes wrong. Let's see what's going on. That is correct. You can see 12,800 by 66. If I double click on the next one, it's taking 9,000 by the one underneath it. The next one is taking 12,700 by the one underneath it. So as you can see, this first part of the formula is relative. It has to move down, but the total is also moving down. So somehow I need to tell Excel to fix it or keep it constant. Right, so let's do this. Equals, click on the HR value. We do not do anything to that because it needs to shift down, divided by your total. Now over here, the symbol Excel uses are dollar signs to keep something constant. So I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of the B. That means keep column B still. And I'm going to put a dollar in front of the 6, which means keep row 6 still. You could also push your F4 key here. That will keep the column and the row constant. If you push F4 again, it will be just the column, and again just the row, and again all the dollars will be removed. So, but in this case, we need to keep the whole cell constant. In other words, I'm telling Excel to anchor that when I copy. Let's enter, and let's see the difference now. Let's double click. And you'll see the 12,800 divided by the total, this one divided by the total. So the first part is relative, and the second part is constant all the way through because I kept the cell constant with dollars. Now, in some instances, you just need to keep the row constant or just the column constant, as in this example here. So over here, I'm going to say 1,000 times 10% and enter. Let's see what happens when I copy down. I can see there's something wrong here. Let's double click. You can see it's using the correct cell references. Let's double click here. Now you can see what's happening here. It's moving to the 2,000 as it should, but it's moving the 10% down. And the next one is moving to 3,000, but it's moving the 10% down to the 200,000. That's why the numbers are so large. If I copy this across, you'll also see something goes wrong here. So now what's happening is the column is moving. So it's now saying 100 times 15% instead of 1,000. So you can see in one case we need to keep a column still, and in another case we need to keep the row still. So let's go equals. Equals. Let's click on that one. Now that one, I want the column to stay still, so I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of the A. Times, and then I'm going to click on the 10%. In this case, I'm going to put a dollar just before the 17 because I just want to keep the row constant, but when I pull it across, it must move from B to C. So I want the column to move, but not the row. And if I pull down, you can see it's correct, correct, correct. Right, so let's try and see if it works when we copy across. It's taking the 1,000 times 15%. This one's taking the 1,000 times 25% because the row is shifting but not the column is shifting but not the row. And in the first instance, the column is constant but the row is able to move. And so you cannot always use relative copying. Sometimes you need to do absolute copying, and that requires you to put dollar signs into your formulas. Most of the advanced formulas require you to use this.